Hello, everyone. Today we are going to have a podcast about the NFL. It's me, Steel21, and Go Tiger Prods.
Hi, guys.
Okay, so today we are going to have 5 segments. And the first segment is we're going to be ranking the top 5 quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers, and quarterbacks. Tiger, you can go first.
So in my opinion, we're gonna
do quarterbacks first.
Yeah, we're gonna start with quarterbacks. Probably the most important position in football right now. Okay, so I'm gonna start 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so starting at 5, my favorite player this year, because I'm an LSU fan, Jayden Daniels at number 5. I mean, the way that this guy played and brought a 3-14 team, I'm pretty sure from last year, to a 12-5 team, brought them to the championship. That's crazy. So going at number 4, I'm gonna go Jalen Hurts. He was not in my top 5 last year. I don't think he was all that last year, but this year, even though you can say, oh yeah, Saquon Barkley carried them, but whenever you say that, you have to understand that even though they have such good receivers, they need a quarterback to throw to them. And Jalen Hurts is such an elite player that he just belongs at that number 4 spot. Okay, coming in at number 3.
I have an objection to make. Even Darius Slay said that Jalen Hurts is not elite, and they are on the same team. So I disagree with your opinion on that, but you can continue.
But I just feel like his Super Bowl performance, I just like the way he plays. So this might be a personal pick. All right, there's a very controversial pick at number 3, okay? I am going Lamar Jackson. But just before you object me like you did before, hear me out. Lamar Jackson, he's a good player, but I feel like he's more... I just don't... Like, this year, obviously, he didn't have to pass as much, but I feel like that guy... You got to know how to pass the football. And as a quarterback, you can't just run every play. And I like his mobility, but...
Jayden Daniels is comp. You said that Jayden Daniels is 5th, right?
Yeah, I
did. And you're saying Lamar is 3rd. Lamar is way better of a passer and a better runner than Jayden Daniels.
Well, you have to understand this, right? Steele. Jayden Daniels, he's different because he's way better accuracy. That guy had one of the best rookie seasons. Anyway, getting back to my point, I have Lamar at 3 because I just don't see him as an elite quarterback because I feel like, at least for this year, he kind of got carried by Derrick Henry. Obviously, not carried. He did something, but he just does not deserve to be in that top 2, in my opinion. Coming in at number 2, we got Joe Burrow. The reason why I'm putting him over Lamar is because if you think of the Bengals, their defense, horrible. Just garbage. And you think, and then you see their offense. You see Chase, Burrow. And then you're like, oh, wow, but their offense is so good. How were they 9-8? Their defense, it was terrible. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. But Joe Burrow, he was sensational, especially after coming off an injury. He just, in my opinion, and you can say, oh, you're favoring him because he's LSU. I'm not. I just like the way he plays. Anyway, coming in at number 1, it's the MVP, Josh Allen. Now, this you don't have to explain this.
You don't have Mahomes in your top 5. You don't know ball. Continue.
I don't like the way Mahomes plays.
No one cares. Continue.
Now, as Steele was saying, I don't have Mahomes in my top 5. Well, guess what? I don't like Mahomes the way he plays. And you can say, oh, because you're a Steelers fan and they didn't win. And I'm like...
Oh, by the way, when I said you don't know ball, I was joking. But, yeah.
Anyway, I'm just like, dude, you can't say that Mahomes... based on this season only, Mahomes isn't in the top 5 for me. But if you take all the seasons, yeah, Mahomes is probably number 2. But, anyway... Yeah, he's my number 1, Josh Allen, because... He got MVP for a reason.
Do you have Mahomes at 6?
Yes, for sure. 6, he has that spot locked. Anyway, I feel like you give Josh Allen 1 because, honestly, who were his receivers other than, I know we got Amari Cooper, but you can also say that Keon Coleman, he stepped up, but he's a rookie. But Josh Allen this year, There was something different about him than last year. I feel like he was just a way more elite player. All right, Seal, your top 5 quarterbacks.
Okay, so coming in at number 5 for me is Jaden Daniels. I agree with him. I agree with Tiger because like Jaden Daniels is he took that pitiful Commanders team to the NFC Conference Chip, and he's a rookie quarterback. So to be able to do that as a rookie is just like sensational, and you can't do that and not be top 5 as a rookie. So yeah, I definitely agree with him putting Jaden Daniels at 5. Number 4, I have Joe Burrow. Yes, he was elite. He played incredibly well last year as a quarterback, but he's not as mobile as the 3 guys in front of him, and he's like not playing like he's not able to run as well as a Josh Allen and a Lamar.
Well, you say that, but when you think about it, he doesn't have the build. Like, he's not bulky like Josh Allen.
Yeah, exactly.
Or is he not
I'm not saying anything that like he's horrible because of that. I'm just saying he's not as good as Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson because of that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I agree with that. I don't agree with the Lamar Jackson thing, but I agree with the Josh Allen.
Okay. At 3, I have Josh Allen. So yeah, he came off his MVP, but if you look at the numbers, Lamar had 41 touchdowns, I believe, to 4 interceptions, compared to Josh Allen's season, which is not nearly as good. I don't know the numbers.
When you think about it, you think, oh yeah, Derrick Henry is just gonna run it close to the end zone. If he gets stopped there, it's an easy pass for Lamar. Maybe that's why he just racked up that many touchdowns this year.
Okay, but
And when you think about it, 4 interceptions, how many completions did he have? How many yards did he have?
there's a 10-1, more than 10-1 ratio for touchdown to interception. It does not matter how many passes you do. That is like still elite. So that's why I have Josh Allen at 3. Number 2, I have Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, his season last year wasn't the greatest, but he's still Patrick Mahomes. You can't do anything. Patrick Mahomes is still like Patrick Mahomes. He made it to the Super Bowl. Like, you have to be elite to go to the Super Bowl. Yeah, he had one bad game. Oh well, and his team was still really good. He led them to 15-2, and you can't do that without a quarterback. Okay. And at number 1, I have Lamar Jackson. He was just elite. He did everything he needed to do. Yeah, the playoffs, but like the loss in the playoffs, I don't think that was his fault. That was like kind of Mark Andrews' fault for dropping that. But Lamar just like played out of his mind last season.
Are you dissing Mark Andrews right now?
No, I'm not dissing Mark Andrews. I'm just saying that wasn't Lamar's fault.
Mark Andrews, Steel21 hates you.
No, I don't. Tiger is like, yeah, okay. But yeah, so I have Lamar at 1 because he's like elite on all sides of the ball.
I'm just saying, if that Mason Taylor, you would do way better.
Yeah, he doesn't know what he's saying. No, like in all seriousness, I think Lamar is better, and as like number 1 quarterback right now. So yeah.
All right, now I'm gonna start off with my top 5 running backs. Okay, just a warning. This is my opinion, not any of yours. Do not put this as your opinion, okay? Because this could get a little controversial. All right, so coming in at number 5 is I think it's very controversial, but I like it. Aaron Jones. I mean, I don't know why, but the way that guy played this year, turning the Vikings like kind of not really season, but like
that was just
they were actually a playoff contender this year, and you can't tell me that, oh yeah, it was just their passing game. Like, I'm not going to believe any of that because I feel like you can't win if you don't have a good running back. So that's all I'm really going to say. Like, I'll take the Bengals. You can say, oh, it was their defense. They didn't have that strong of a running game, but they had a little bit of a running game. Okay, coming in at 4, I got Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, I don't think I have to explain this one. He's just elite. He's going to be a good running back, and he's like 22. Like, come on. He's such a young player, but he's just crazy good. And the Lions also do have a good O-line, which kind of gives him a bunch of yards, but still, he's really good. Okay, coming in at number 3, I have Josh Jacobs. Surprise, surprise. There's 3 running backs from the NFC North. Poor Bears. They stink. picking Caleb Williams over Jaden Daniels. Anyway, getting back to the point. I have Josh Jacobs at 3 because I kind of feel like he was really good on the Packers. He was way better on the Packers than he was on the Raiders. He did kind of have a fall off after midseason, but he's just a pretty good player overall. Coming in at number 2, no shocker here, Derrick Henry. And some of you might say, oh my God, Saquon is way worse than Derrick Henry. No, that's simply not true. Saquon is faster, and also I feel like Derrick Henry's specialty is kind of running through defenses, not finding corners, but Saquon's just better at that. Okay, anyway, reason why I have Derrick Henry at 2, he's an awesome player. I don't really like him because he's on the Ravens, but he's a great player. You can't deny that, and he deserves to be here. Okay, coming at number 1, I mean, you probably guessed it, it's Saquon. If you count his all-purpose yards, he had over 2,000. Just a great turnaround. What a turnaround for Saquon, though, because you go from being terrible on the Giants.
Okay, he was not terrible. He was still
I was just about to
10.
say, but he wasn't
Injury
at his
prone.
full potential on the Giants.
Yeah, he was.
I'll say that much. And then on the Eagles, he's just finding random holes in the offensive line, and they just made so many gaps for him to run through. But he was just elite, and I feel like he should be everyone's number 1 after what, at least for this year. All right, Steele, it's your turn.
Okay, so my number 5 running back in the league is Joe Mixon. He was really, really good last year on the Texans, and he was one of the reasons that he made it into the Texans made it into the playoffs. I mean, yeah,
Well,
CJ Stroud, but he was still really, really good.
But
And-
when you think about it, he kind of fell off a little, don't you think? He wasn't that good.
Okay, so you can ask. I mean, not really. It was either him or Bijan, but I chose,
Overall, I would have taken him over Bijan, yeah, but
yeah.
he kind of fell off, I feel like.
But he was still elite that last year.
Yeah, he was, for sure. I can't deny that.
So that's why I have him at 5. So at number 4, I have Josh Jacobs. I mean, Josh Jacobs was really good last year. He was playing really good. That's really all I have to say. Josh Jacobs was a big reason that the Packers did as well as they did, because all the Packers receivers kept getting injured.
Oh, yeah, their receivers are, dead.
Yeah, so I mean, if he wasn't there, then they would not have done that well. Number 3, I have Jahmyr Gibbs. There's not much that I need to say about this. Jahmyr Gibbs was actually really good last year, and the 1-2 punch between him and David Montgomery was easily the best in the league. They controlled the game so much for the Lions that they didn't even need to pass it that much, even though they did. But Jahmyr Gibbs, that game against the Vikings at the end of the year, he had 3 or 4 touchdowns.
Where Sam Darnold kept on playing.
Yeah, Sam Darnold did kind of sell that game, but it just showed how much talent he has, and he can completely take a game over if he wants to. And number 2 is Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry. That's my answer. He runs through everybody, and yeah, he was actually elite. So yeah, he made the Ravens that good because him and Lamar were the crazy dangerous duo. So Derrick Henry is for sure 2. Number 1 has to be Saquon Barkley. He's the main reason why the Eagles made it to the Super Bowl. Every single game he worked as good as he can, and he was super selfless at the end. When he could have broken the record, he let
he let the young boys eat.
Yeah, quote, he let the young boys eat. So that, I mean,
Very
that's not showing how
wholesome
good he
of him,
is,
very
but yeah,
wholesome.
he's a great guy and
Good
a great
player.
player. So yeah, that's my top 5. Next up, we have the receivers.
All right, so I'm going to start off with my top 5 receivers. Coming in at number 5, I got CeeDee Lamb. Now, you might say he's a great player. Yes, I agree, he's a great player. This year, obviously they had quarterback issues, but he was their number 1 by far. And I feel like there's good receivers in the league, okay? Like, I feel like you can't single him out to be the best or anything. But that's why I have him at number 5. He was a great player this year. He was a good player, but I don't think he's in that top 4. Next, we have Tyreek Hill. Okay, he did not have a good year this year. I'm going to be completely honest. But I have him at 4 because whenever... I know this is just supposed to be this season, but I feel like he's just a great player. I mean, you can't come here and tell me that Tyreek Hill is not one of the... Maybe he's not in the top 15 greatest receivers of all time. You can't come here and tell me that. And that's why I feel like I put him over CD. Now, in a few years, I might put CD over him, okay? Like, do not quote me on this, okay? Okay, coming in at number 3, I have Amon-Ra. Now, like Steele said, the Lions didn't even have to pass. Like, they could have ran every play and they would have still won. But they did, and Amon-Ra was just crazy. Amon-Ra's a good player. I mean, he can get open. He knows how to play the game. I'll say that. He knows how defenses work, and he knows how to make defenses, like, slip. Coming in at 2, this is pretty obvious. I'm going Ja'Marr Chase. Now, Ja'Marr Chase is Ja'Marr Chase, okay? You cannot come here and tell me that he didn't have a good season. Him and Joe Burrow are the only reasons that the Bengals were 9-8, okay? You can say, oh, well, maybe there's some other part, but they were the main reasons. And Ja'Marr Chase is just... He is a great rack. Like, receive after, yards after, yards after catch. So, I mean, if you saw the game against the Panthers, he had that one really nice play. But overall, I feel like everyone should agree with me on that because he's just a really good player. All right, coming in at number 1, pretty obvious. I hope you guys could have guessed this because of my channel name, but it's Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson, best receiver in the league by far, in my opinion. Do I think that him and Chase make it close? Yes, I do. Chase could sometime take it if Jefferson doesn't have the best season ever. But still, I feel like Jefferson has kept that spot. Last year, you could have said Reek, but ever since Reek has been on the Dolphins, he's kind of... I'll say this, he did good for like 1 year, I'm pretty sure, or 2 years. But that's a very reasonable pick. And Justin Jefferson is just a crazy route runner. He's like Amon-Ra. He's just like a better version of Amon-Ra, in my opinion. He's just like, he knows how to.
He is not a better version of Amon-Ra. He is just better than Amon-Ra. They're not like that similar. But continue.
I like the way, I think they play the almost the same way. And I feel like he's one of the best route runners in the league.
Yeah, okay. If you mean by route running, yeah, I understand.
All right, now it's Steele's turn.
So for my number 5, I have Tyreek Hill. Yeah, I mean, you can say that, like, oh, Tyreek Hill didn't have a good season last year. He is still Tyreek Hill. And if you need him to, he will run past every single person on your team, and he won't even make it difficult. So, like, yeah, Tyreek Hill was... I mean, he had quarterback issues. Tua was, like, gone for, like, basically half the year. Tua kept getting injured, and then his backup quarterback was Tyler Huntley. Yeah, it was.
Are you hating on Tyler Huntley?
Stop he is not Tua. Tyler Huntley is not Tua.
Yeah, he's not that. He doesn't get injured that much, but still, why are you hating on players?
I'm not hating, but like, yeah, he didn't really have the greatest quarterback play. So if he had Tua the whole year, he would have done a lot better. He would be in my top 3, but yeah, I have to like take him out of that top 3, put him at 5 just because he didn't have the production. No excuse is gonna make up for production. So.
I mean, I do agree with that to a limited part, but, I mean, the only reason I really had him above where you had him was because I just feel like he's Tyreek Hill, so.
Okay, well, next up, I have CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is really good. He, like, does everything you need him to do, and he's, like, not... I mean, he was still good and consistent last year with Cooper Rush as his quarterback.
Now we're hating on Cooper Rush, guys.
I'm saying Cooper Rush is worse than Dak Prescott. So, I mean, yeah, CD would have done better. And I'm giving it to CD simply because he's younger than Tyreek, so he has like more room to grow. Number 3 is Amon-Ra St. Brown. I have it the same as Tiger over here. Amon-Ra is like really good. George Pickens called him a slot merchant, and I love George Pickens, but Amon-Ra is just like really good. He can like do everything, and he was elite with the Lions last year. Even when like J-Mo was suspended, he like did everything he needed to do and like better. And coming in at number 2, I have Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson, yeah, you guys are gonna be like thinking like, why would I have Justin Jefferson over? Justin Jefferson under Jamar Chase, but I would give Jamar Chase the nod because he was just excellent last year, and since he's like supposed to be on last year, he was like non-human last year. He like played out of his mind, so I would 100% give it to Jamar Chase. But Justin Jefferson still played incredibly well, but he did not match Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase went off like every single game, and he was in second place for Offensive Player of the Year. And like it's not that he's like a 1-year wonder because like Jamar Chase has always been good. So yeah, that's why I would take Jamar. Okay, my number 1 is Jamar Chase because of the reasons I stated. He was so good, and Justin Jefferson wasn't as good as him last year. So, yeah, that's purely why I take Jamar Chase. Next up, we have the cornerbacks.
All right, so I'm going to do my top 5 right now. For cornerbacks, obviously. Okay, so coming in at number 5, I have... So at number 5, I got Marlon Humphrey. Good player, really good player. He's very good at cornerback, I feel. He was not very relevant last year, I will say that. He was a little relevant, but he wasn't the best corner last year by far. He definitely did really good this year, I feel like. Okay, coming in at number 4, another AFC North guy, we got Denzel Ward.
You have Denzel over Marlon? Okay, continue.
I have Denzel over Marlon because I feel like Denzel is more man-to-man than Marlon is.
Yeah, but there's also zone corners in the league. But whatever, continue.
I know. I just feel like zone coverage, it's not all dependent on you. But in man, you kind of have to, it's all up to you if you don't want them to get a touchdown or like get a big gain.
I guess.
So, coming in at number 3, I have got Jalen Ramsey.
Okay.
He's a good player. He was just not the best this year, but he was very I will say this, he didn't allow too many yards. He wasn't very generous, if I do say so. But I mean, he's a good player. That's all I have to say. Number 2, I have Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner is a very good cornerback. But the one guy who's above him is Patrick Surtain, Defensive Player of the Year. He was just awesome. I mean, I don't know what happened to this guy. It's not like he was terrible last year or anything, but what was that? Like, he stepped up. I'll say that. He stepped up like crazy. Okay. All right, time for Steel's top 5.
Okay, so my 5th place cornerback is Marlon Humphrey, just like Tigers. He was pretty good. He did well. He covered everybody he needed to, but he wasn't as elite as the other people who were ahead of him. Number 4, I have Trent McDuffie. He was the heart and soul of the Chiefs defense, besides Chris Jones. But the secondary, he held it. He traveled. He played outside. He played inside. He did everything he needed to do, and it wasn't even and he did it all extremely well. And this is his first year without having L'Jarius Sneed, who didn't play his best football this season. But it was his first year without L'Jarius Sneed, and I feel like he stepped up really well. Number 3, I have Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey was good last year. He did everything he needed to, but he wasn't as elite as the 2 people who I have ahead of him. But yeah, Jalen Ramsey was pretty good. Number 2, I have Sauce Gardner. Now I know he had a down year last year, but he's still Sauce Gardner. He has like the ideal frame for a DB. He like does his job well. Yeah, last year was a bit of a down year, which is why I don't have him at number 1 anymore. But I still think that he's a really good corner, and he's like easily top 5 in the league. But I have him at number 2. And number 1, same as Tiger, I have Patrick Surtain. He was just incredible last year. He did everything he needed to do better than he needed to. So, like, yeah, I think he's for sure best in the league. And, yeah, he was everywhere. He did everything. It was really, really hard to argue against him being number 1.
All right, so next we're going to go with our top 5 teams. So, coming in at number 5, for me personally, I have the Commanders. Especially with the addition of Debo. They're just going to be elite.
Debo is washed.
I know, but he's still a good player. All right, coming in at number 4, I'm going to put the Ravens. I mean, I don't think that they're going to be as good as the other teams that I have on this list, but I feel like they're going to be better than the Commanders. Great team, okay? They're a great team. They're better than the Steelers, but I like the Steelers more. Anyway.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry.
Anyway, coming in at number 3, I have the Buffalo Bills. I mean, they might get DK Metcalf, and that's just scary. I mean, come on.
Well, they don't have him yet, so you
I know they might.
They're still.
If they didn't get him, I'd still have them at number 3.
If they did, then he might they might have a case to be top 2.
Yeah, and then coming in at number 2, I have the Baltimore. Oh, sorry, not Baltimore. I'm stupid. I have the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I do think that the Eagles are going to be better than them, only for one reason. I feel like the Eagles know what they have to do. Saquon is not going to...
Saquon got a new contract. 2 years, $41 million.
Yeah, wait, listen. In 2 years, Saquon, it's going to be hard to get him back. And you have to deal with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith's contract. So I feel like they know what they have to do, and they're going to utilize the few years that they have with Saquon, AJ, and Devonta Smith. So that's why I have them at number 1, because I do personally think that they might make the Super Bowl next year.
Okay, so my top 5, at number 5, I have the Baltimore Ravens. As much as it hurts for me to say that as a Steelers fan, they steamrolled us in the playoffs. They're a really good team, and they 100% deserve being number 5 on the list. Yeah, there could be a case for them to be higher, but yeah, I feel like that they are a top 5 team.
Also, before I get any hate, I know that everyone's going to say this, but I did know that the Lions could be on this list.
Yeah, they're at 6, right?
Yeah, they're at 6, but I feel like, just honestly, I feel like the Lions are going to have a tougher year, obviously, because they did really good this year. Oh, well, at least for regular season.
So we don't talk about their playoffs.
Yeah, their playoffs are kind of disappointing. But that's the only reason why I put them at 6. Like, I don't hate the Lions, okay? They're one of my favorite teams.
Yeah, okay, number 4, I have the Buffalo Bills. The Bills, I mean, at this point, they're, like, cursed of being the second best team in the division. They keep losing. Like, at all times, they keep losing to Mahomes. I don't know what they can do about it, but until they're, like, show that they're able to beat Mahomes in the postseason, I can't put them, like, higher than the Chiefs. And the teams besides the Chiefs that are ahead of them are, like, elite. So, yeah. Number 3, I have the Lions. Yes, their playoff loss was incredibly disappointing. They could have done way better, but, like, I mean, it was that one game that they sold. Every other game, they were, like, incredibly good in the regular season. So, I mean, I'm not, like, gonna drag that one postseason loss too much on them, because every team will have a bad game. Also, Jared Goff did not know what he was doing in that game. I'm not hating, but, like...
Dude, did you see his Pro Bowl performance compared to his playoff performance?
that playoff, he, like...
He rocked the Pro Bowl, but then he actually, like...
sold in the playoffs. Yeah, okay. But, yeah, no disrespect to Jared Goff. He's a really good quarterback, but
Jared
like
Goof.
he grew like way too many interceptions.
He needs to be careful with the ball, guys.
Yeah. So at number 2, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. They made it to the Super Bowl for a reason. Yeah, everybody's gonna say, "Oh, the refs." Yeah, I mean there were some questionable calls, but you're not gonna get to the Super Bowl just because of the refs. They're a good team as much as I like hate to say it. And Travis Kelce is like at the end of his career.
He actually threatened to retire. Not threatened, but like,
Yeah, he's thinking about retiring right now, but I still have the Chiefs at 2 and Eagles are at 1. No surprise. They demolished the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. They literally can pass. They have 2 elite receivers. Well, not okay. An elite receiver and Devonta Smith is like incredibly good, but not in the elite category. And they have Saquon Barkley, who's the best running back in the league. So they could really run all over everyone and pass all over them. And their defense is so young. They have like immense potential because of they have Jalen Carter, who's still on a rookie deal. They have Jordan Davis, yeah. They have Quinyon Mitchell. They have Cooper DeJean. Cooper DeJean is not a safety. He will lock down your number 1. Okay, but
he's
yeah.
just a corner, by the way, guys.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's the Eagles. There's really no debate.
All right, so that's going to be it for today's episode 1. We're just going to...
enjoyed it?
Yeah, we actually do hope you enjoyed it. This is just going to be a little series that we're going to do.
Yeah.
And next episode, we're going to come at you with some of the free agency trades that have happened. Not free agency trades, sorry. Free agency and trades that have happened so far before March 10th.
Yeah.
So, we hope to get that to you in next week or so. Bye.